Welcome back everyone, and huge props for keeping up with these modules. I'm hoping by this point there are some stuff that you guys can start implementing. One of the biggest things I've noticed after coaching hundreds of people over the years is that information isn't scarce. Most people have too much of it, in fact. They've watched hundreds of videos, saved thousands of posts, and downloaded meal plans, tried different workouts, but are still stuck. The reason is usually not a lack of knowledge, but it's a lack of applying the right things consistently. In this module, I want to break down the biggest reasons people don't get results and what you can do differently. Why do some people really struggle to achieve their fitness goals? Information overload. We live in a world where you can find the answer to absolutely anything within seconds. The problem is that having access to information doesn't mean you know what information is actually important. People spend more time searching for the next tip rather than just mastering the basics. There is a lot of conflicting advice online. One person says carbs are bad, another says carbs are essential. One says train 6 days a week and another says 3 days is enough. The truth is, both can work, but people get stuck trying to find the perfect approach and then lose out on consistency or just give up. There's a lot of people that also want the shortcut. Everyone wants the fastest transformation. The fitness industry sells quick fixes because that's what people want to hear. I don't want to do something if I can't have it now. We have to be patient with this process and not focus so much on the goal that the day-to-day becomes unbearable. Sustainable results come from doing the same things consistently. Treat it like a small lifestyle change rather than some new plan that has an expiry date. I think there's a lot of unrealistic expectations out there as well. People compare their beginning to someone else's 10 years of work and expect the last 5 years of poor habits to be undone in a short space of time, like 8 to 10 weeks. Your body adapts over time. That's both the good news and also the frustrating part. Give yourself that time. Repeat what you learn here daily, and over time, you get better at handling it. And before you know it, you've made enough good changes where you start to notice it in your physique and or strength or performance. You will hear me talk a lot about the fundamentals and why they are so important. Most people don't need that advanced plan. They need to focus on the calories, the protein, training consistently, sleep, and daily movement. These are the core elements which translate into long-term growth. The takeaway for this is success isn't necessarily about finding more information. It's about finding the right information and actually applying it regularly. Let's talk about effort now. Something that isn't sustainable, but I see a lot of people do, is go from 0 to 100. If you're someone that currently goes to the gym, you might see this. A lot of people are motivated on Monday, so you'll see the gyms and classes at their busiest, but by Friday, not so much. They try to become completely different people overnight every week. The problem is that extreme changes are usually impossible to maintain, like cutting calories too aggressively. People think the faster they lose weight, the better, but if your diet is so aggressive that you're miserable, hungry, and tired, you're unlikely to sustain it. Not to mention, the biggest component to help us lose body fat is actually how much muscle we have, and cutting your calories so low, so quick, will most likely push your body to atrophy or burn the muscle, which in turn makes it harder for you to lose fat. So although the scales might look better from not eating all of a sudden, some of that weight is likely to come from muscle. Training every day. More isn't always better. Your body grows and adapts during recovery. A well-designed 4-day training plan done consistently beats a 7-day training plan that you quit after 2 weeks. We also take a fair few days to recover from the workout depending on intensity, so weight training every day, your body will actually struggle to recover, and that's why after a few weeks, you might be burnt out and then be forced to take that time off anyway. Try not to be so perfect. A lot of people think that one bad meal ruins everything, like, oh, I've had that biscuit, so now I can eat whatever I want because it doesn't matter and I'll just start again tomorrow. The problem is when one mistake turns into many and then you give up completely. Going back to my previous video, and I do want to mention this again, is that consistent people win at the end of the day. They have bad days, but they get back on track quickly. The key takeaway here is the best plan isn't the one that looks impressive or necessarily drastic. It's actually the basic one that you can stick to. Now, let's talk about the biggest mistakes people make. First off, there's no structured plan. Most beginners go into the gym and do random exercises based on what they feel like, or maybe just what's free or what they're comfortable doing. They aren't tracking progression, which in turn means they don't know whether they're actually improving week to week. Chasing calories burned. A lot of the time, people are focusing too heavily on the number of calories on the treadmill or their smartwatch, where instead they need to be focusing on building muscle and improving strength. Even when you're wanting to lose fat, or it's a performance goal, like you've got that 10K or high rocks or marathon that you're working towards, the goal isn't just to burn calories today, it's to build a body that performs better and adjusting the training accordingly to suit that outcome. Another issue is constantly changing your program or workouts. People change exercises every week because they think something isn't working, or they follow the latest trend coach that says you need to do X workout to really start improving. But you haven't given your body enough time to adapt to the stimulus that you're giving it. The best workouts often don't need to be changed that often for you to make progress. Yes, volumes are great to change over time, and the workouts should be adapted to you personally, but more often than not, sticking to a basic structure consistently is likely to be far more beneficial than a constant change. The final issue I see is comparison. Comparing yourself to someone who has been training for 10 years is only going to create frustration. You don't need to compare yourself to someone online or that guy who just looks yoked in the gym. Everyone starts somewhere, and depending on your goal, like losing fat compared to wanting to build muscle mass or strength, then the workouts can't be copied. They need to be tailored towards those outcomes and for you personally. Some people can manage and recover from 5 or 6 sessions a week, whilst others are more suited to 3 or 4. The harsh truth is some workouts will feel incredible and some just won't. You're not always going to want to train or want to have that meal that you should have rather than the one that you want to have. Trust me, we're all human, we have desires. The more times you say, I know I don't want to, but I'm going to do it anyway, honestly, the better your character becomes. Alongside adherence, that discipline translates into other areas of your life, and over time, you become a more structured, more focused, and confident individual, and therefore, more progress you achieve. So we need to master the basics first. The small details only matter once the fundamentals are already in place. If you were to change just one thing watching this video, pick something you can improve, like hit your protein target or walk 8,000 steps a day or just train 3 or 4 times a week. But you don't need to change everything at once. We need to make the process simple. Build momentum, small wins create confidence, and the confidence creates more action. Remove the friction. Prepare your meals in advance so you're not planning the food when you're hungry. Schedule your workouts. Look at your week and literally put it in your calendar. Take a client of mine, Paul. When he came to me, he was struggling with understanding what to do in the gym and whether he was eating the right amounts of food to build muscle. His biggest challenge wasn't that he didn't take the time to train, it was just a bit all over the place. And when I looked at his eating, it was far too low for him to successfully attain his goal. The biggest shift was that he stopped switching his routine up frequently, and instead we built a plan that he could confidently stick to. Paul started consistently hitting his workouts with more structure and emphasis on the areas he needed to work the most. He hit his protein target, his steps, and improved his sleep routine. Because he focused on these small behavior changes, the results followed. Paul has gained 9 kilos of lean muscle and is still continuing to improve his physique to this day. Now I want you to think about yourself. What's one habit you're going to improve after watching this lesson? Do not pick 5 things, pick one thing that you can commit to, because that is where real progress starts.